Welcome to Hip Hop Gems TV. Today, man, we got a very, very, very special guest. A first, actually. Got my guy here, got councilman here, man. We got Kevin Riley in the building.
What's up, man? I appreciate you having me, man.
Nah, man, we appreciate you being here. Yeah, man, absolutely. I think the last time we connected was in September, man, at the summer event that you had. It was a pleasure to be a part of that.
Yeah, man, we had this dope block party we did in my district, first of its kind, and we do these events just to like pull people out in the community, make them network. I think building relationships is really important in anything that you do. So that's why we do dope events, man. We try to add some hip hop into it.
Well, yeah, that's something I want to get into. I'm gonna get into it later, but definitely, man, your taste in music, because I'll be seeing some of the stuff you be posting.
Oh yeah,
so.
Yeah,
definitely, he's definitely tapped in. That's why he's right here. He's definitely tapped in. Yo, man, let's get into wild politics, man. How did you get your introduction into that?
To be honest, it really happened by accident. So when people usually refer to me as an elected official or politician, I like to refer to myself as a public servant. Because throughout my entire life, I've always had joy into serving people and helping people out. And what happened was my first job ever with Summer Youth, SYEP, I worked at the library in my district. I worked in every library in my community. When people come in the library, they usually want to help with the computers or want to find a book. So you really don't learn what's happening within your community. Throughout my journey with just working and just growing up in my community, I've been a camp counselor. I worked in retail, and when I went away to college, I got into a department called Politics, Economics, and Society. So originally, I wanted to become a lawyer because my mom wanted me to become a lawyer. She's Jamaican. My father's Jamaican. But he got deported back to Jamaica, but that's another story we could get into a little bit later.
Okay.
But she wanted me to become a lawyer. And at that time, my college, I went to SUNY College at Westbury, there was no law department. So I could either do politics, economics, and society, or I could either do English. And at that time, I was like, hey, let me do politics, economics, and society. I joined a fraternity in 2008, and I'm at Nationals, and I'm talking to this journalist, and he was my fraternity brother, a real popular journalist, the late, great Jonathan Hicks. And I wouldn't be the man I am today if it wasn't for that introduction that he did for me. He was like, hey, and at that time, I had became the senator of my department at the college, and I was able to convert it from politics, economics, and society to politics, economics, and law, because there was a lot of students at the college that wanted law degrees eventually after college, but there was no law department. So just sitting with him, he's like, hey, why don't you just try politics? I'm like, at that time, I'm thinking politicians, old white guys, like sitting in the room, dressed up all the time, passing laws. But I didn't really know what politics was really at that time, essentially. So I went to this lunch with him on a Friday, and I'm sitting at the table, and it was Ruben Diaz Jr., who was the former Bronx Borough president, one of my mentors, and Carl E. Hasty, who's currently the Speaker of the New York State Assembly, most powerful black man in New York State right now. And they were at the table making these decisions. Ruben was deciding he was running for borough president, and Carl was deciding he was going to run for the chairman of the Bronx County. That's pretty much the Democratic Party that represents all the elected officials in the Bronx. And I'm just looking at them like their swag was like relatable. They both like hip hop. Like they was just talking like I just heard like, the way they articulate, their thoughts. And I was like, yo, this sounds cool. Like I could rock with these dudes. I got an internship in 2008, and here I am today.
Yo, that's interesting, man. That's amazing to hear, man. Being that you was able to connect with somebody, it kind of seemed like you saw yourself in them, and this is what led to you being where you at right now.
Yeah.
Can you let us know, like, yo, what exactly, not like your day-to-day, but like what does like your title do for the city, so to speak?
So a city council member is the individual who has oversight over city agencies in New York City. We're in charge of land use within New York City. We're in charge of the city's budget. And we're really the checks and balances to the mayor. So that's pretty much our job within New York City. We help represent our community. So there's 51 city council members in New York City. We represent roughly about 9 million people. So it's a lot of people, only 51 council members. So our districts are pretty much broken into 172,000 600, 173,000, 100,000, so around that number. So we pretty much go down to City Hall. We have oversight over the city agencies like NYPD, FDNY, Department of Sanitation, DOT, those agencies. We set policies, but a day-to-day looks different. Like I could be doing this today, like doing interviews, doing a lot of outreach. I could be in the community, like how me and you formerly met at the block party, doing events, really pulling my community together. I could be down in City Hall. I'm the chair of zoning and franchise, so I really have the control of how land use and development in New York City happens.
Wow.
So usually when a developer wants to change a zoning regulation, they have to go through a process called URLIP, and that process usually goes to the community board and lastly comes to the council, and I'm the chair of that committee that it comes through. Wow. So I could be in City Hall. I could be negotiating the budget. I'm a part of the B&T budget negotiation team. So we're negotiating over $100 billion budget right now with the mayor on how we're spending, city taxpayers' money. I could be in the district at a school, chilling, chopping it up with some students. I could be in the YMCA, helping really just transition a lot of our young men. I feel like that's something I needed growing up. I started a mentorship program. So usually I'll take a lot of the young men on trips, expose them to different career paths. So a day-to-day of an elected official, or I could be with on stage with A Boogie.
Which I mean?
Which a lot of the young people really see, and they be like, "Yo, I saw you on stage with A Boogie, man." So it really varies what it does, but I really just want to be as accessible as possible.
One thing I would say about you, just from what I know and from what you explained, that accessibility is good for people to see.
Yeah.
So people like myself and people within the community, they feel somewhat of an attachment to that. It's like, okay, this person is not far off, or this person looks like me.
Yeah.
So there's a level of attachment, which I think is great, which I think a lot of people need, a lot of citizens in the city need to see. So I think that's great that you are still there, so to speak.
Man.
As we said, absolutely, man. You wanted to run for council. I know you kind of broke that down, but did you also kind of look at your neighborhood and kind of feel like, yo, there's a need for change?
A need for change, but really me running for council had more to do with me personally. So I didn't really break down my upbringing. So when learning about government, you learn how much politics plays a role into a lot of the things that happen within our lives. Something that happened way before government, way before I started working was I lost my father to the criminal justice system. My father got in trouble. He used to be a hustler back in the day, so he got in trouble before he got locked up the last time, which was around the 3 strikes rule that, Clinton, Giuliani, even Biden, was a part of around that time when they were trying to really cure crime within our communities. But the crack epidemic really hurt our communities far more than, the drug itself. Right. It really played a role into the economy as well, because at that time when we were getting rid of a lot of jobs, and a lot of black men couldn't get a lot of those jobs, a lot of them resulted into the crack game, which we didn't bring over here,
right?
It came over here through the government. So the fact that happened, and after that, my father was incarcerated, I used to visit him a lot in jail. And when I went to jail and visited my brother, and I used to see a lot of black men in there all the time. So my whole upbringing, it was really rough. I was really trying to figure out myself. I really tried to get affirmation, going down the wrong path. That's why when I clicked up and met up Carl and Ruben, they were really positive, images in my life. Roy Pickering, who was someone in my church, really positive, influence in my life. And we don't talk about that as much as black men. We really don't have the chance, if you don't have a father in your life, to get that affirmation on a day-to-day basis. So I used to think I was going to jail my entire life. I thought that was my path. All right, I see black people, my father in jail, all these black men in jail. I'm going here at a young age. This is the path I'm going to, embark on. And when my mother when I told you when I went to college, I wasn't going to college for me. I was going to college, at that time to please my mother, to take care of, her. And at that time, I was her investment. We're our parents' investment. She was working 3 jobs as a single mother. You know, she sent me to Catholic school my whole life, like private school. Like she wanted to invest in me, so I wanted to make sure she was fulfilled from her investment. So when I got to college and even got in that internship, and I'm with Carl, and Carl's like, yo, Kev, I think you could represent the community. Because at the time, what I said, I was a public servant. I love helping people, man. I like, that's just me. Like, you could call me and be like, Kev, I need your help doing this. And I'll try to find, if I can't help you, I'll try to find a way somebody can help you out. That's just the way I am. So when I got in the job and Carl started seeing me and he just started becoming my mentor, he's like, yo, I think you can represent the community one day. And I will never forget that day, man. It was in 2014. He said that to me, because politics is not a job that you make a lot of money.
Right.
So anybody that want to do, you know, get in government, is you really have to have some kind of good heart to do something. You know what I mean? You have people that do a lot of messed up stuff that utilize and leverage the power to do a lot of messed up things, but you have to have some form of a good heart. Right. You know what I mean? In politics. And at that time, when he had said that to me, he was pouring into me. And I didn't know I needed that at that time. I was like, you think I can be an elected official? Like, and I told you at that time, I thought they were just high and mighty and things of that nature. I was like, wow. I went back to school, got my master's in a year, graduated. Pi Alpha Alpha which is a part of the Honor Society. I really started to understand government, different levels of government. And I saw how I could be a difference in my community. You see, people like us, we don't really understand government or want to even deal with politics. I feel like I could change that dynamic now because I could tap into different networks in my community. I could be in the senior center. I could be in the park. I could be on the basketball court. I could be with the young people, listening to music that they listen to and tapping in with them that way. You know, I'm a dad. I have a fatherhood organization. I could tap in with parents. You know what I mean? Like, I could be a different type of elected official where I could build people and make them realize this is a community. We are one. We got to do things together if we want our community to excel.
Amazing, man. You touched on a couple of these. You touched on one thing I want to rebound off actually is the dad gang. Yeah. Yo, was that something that you started, or was that something that you kind of came together with a group of brothers and was like, yo, we're going to get this thing going?
So with the dad gang, I'm one of the founder members of the dad gang. The founder of the dad gang is Sean Williams. He's my fraternity brother. And how the dad gang was founded was Sean was in the supermarket one day with his 2 beautiful kids. And a white lady had seen him, and he was like, yo, I'm glad you stuck around. And he was really offended by that. He was like, yo, how could you say that? I know ton of my boys and like my frat brothers, friends, they all involved in their children's lives. Like, that's a crazy comment. And it was a negative stereotype that black men weren't involved in their children's lives. And we see it every day, you know, on an everyday basis. So what happened was, and even in my story, like, there are some cases where black men aren't part of children's lives, but my father will call me every week. I mean, he taps in. I told you he's deported in Jamaica. He calls me twice a week, tapped in, like he wants to be next to me. So that perception that black men don't want to be involved in their children's lives was a negative perception. So in 2015, Sean founded the Dad Gang, and I wanted to found the members of the Dad Gang because that was when I had my daughter as well in 2015. Very involved, changed my life. Actually, I'm coming out with a children's book soon. I already wrote this in publications and everything regarding my daughter, and it's called Hopping Through Life, a Tales of a Fatherless Father. So fire, yeah. And Sean has his books, Girl Dad, Boy Dad. We really want to encourage or change the narrative that, you know, black men are involved, the negative stereotype that black men are involved in children's lives. So that's how I was founded. I wanted to found the members. We do tons of events. We do something called March of Dads, where we go to landmarks within different cities. In New York City, we've been at Prospect Park. This year, we're going to be at the Bronx Children's Museum. We went out to Atlanta to Pound City Market. We went out to LA to Slauson Boulevard where Nipsey's store was at. So, and we just have a bunch of dads just walking with their kids, black dads, dads of color, just walking with their kids. And you see that. Like, you driving by, you just like, wow, I see all these black men with their kids. Like, what's going on out here? And this is real. Like, and we wanted to symbolize that. And we also wanted to create a society and a network and of fathers that could connect with each other. We do something called Dad's House, where we have a conversation with just us, no kids. And we just talk about our lives because there's a lot on our shoulders each and every day, and we don't get to decompress those thoughts.
Do you do that in the city?
Yeah. We do that in the city. We did it earlier this year, but we take it around the nation. We take it around
the dad's house.
The dad's house as well.
I want to attend that, bro.
Yeah, yo, I got you. Next time we do one in New York City, I got you, man.
Nah, I definitely have to attend that. I think that whole movement is fire.
Yeah, thank you.
When I seen that you had the image I seen was when you had the I guess I was in Atlanta, like you said last year. And that was so dope, man, just to see. I think you had the mic and you was talking. It was just a bunch of black men just there. The stereotype is crazy. Unfortunately, I know guys in my life who aren't in their children's lives. Yeah. Some on purpose, some not on purpose. So the fact that you are taking the proper steps to really like, yo, look, nah, man, this is important to keep the village together.
It is, and statistically, if you look at it, black men are more prone to help their kids out with their homework, to take their kids to school, to be around their kids. Like, so just growing up, and we don't realize we're feeding what we're saying, what we're seeing every day is like feeding what we're doing. And if you hear that you ain't shit every single day, I could curse my
hell yeah.
I'm sorry. If you hear you ain't shit every single day, you might amount not to be shit, and that's what a lot of black men have been hearing. We see that every single day. They talk bad about us. People fear us. People look down on us. We're the most incarcerated, and we're not even the largest population in this nation. So if you look at all that, like statistically, those are the statistics you gotta pay attention to when you talk about us not being fathers. We are great men. We are kings. You know what I mean? And those of us, like, you know, you got your son here. He's doing amazing things. He's watching you. I would have my kids here if they weren't in swimming right now. And they'll be watching me doing the things I do. And that's the most things I'm proud of, you know, making sure that they're able to see me. The last time I saw my father in my house, he was in handcuffs and taken out. That's the image I saw, and it stuck with me my entire life. So I want the image they see of their father out here saving their community, doing everything possible. Like the other day, my daughter came home. She was like, one of the kids asked if I was a superhero at the school. Because, you know, they're young kids in kindergarten. I was like, yo, that's so dope. Like, I wanted to, like, cry inside, but I'm like, nah, I ain't no superhero. I was trying to be humble. I'm like, nah, I ain't no superhero.
Yeah.
So, but it felt good, like, to hear that. You know what I mean?
I think that's dope, too. My son was telling me the other day that a friend of his thought I was a celebrity. I'm like, like, you know what I'm saying? But it feels good to hear that, though. You know, it's also kids pay attention. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So you being present, you doing what you're doing, I think that's amazing.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
Dad gang, politician. There's this thing with community engagement that you are definitely big on, man. Tell us how important that is for you in community engagement and getting us all together to kind of rally behind what it is that you got going on and others.
So you gotta really think about it. Like every single day, like we all have our own thing going on. Everyone wakes up in the morning, they go to work, they go to school, they come back home, they'll go out. Nobody's really paying attention to what happens inside the community, dissecting it. So each and every day in the morning, I'll go for like a run or I'll go for like a bike ride. And it gives me a time to really see what's happening in the community. So I get to see the street that hasn't been cleaned in some time that Miss Arnold is calling my office about. Or I'll get to see how a block is frequently getting speed. Cars are speeding up the block and there's kids playing over there. Or I'll get to see how a building in the community hasn't been taken care of, or a park hasn't been able to take care of. But these shouldn't be decisions just made by the elected officials in the area. This should be made by people who are the stakeholders, which are people that live in the community. So the part of community engagement that happens with elected officials is usually the individuals that vote for them. So it's the people that always pop out. So anytime we do an event, a town hall, community conversation, book bag giveaway, turkey get anytime, these are usually the same individuals that are coming because they're paying attention. They're more civically engaged. Then you have the individuals that are utilizing aspects of the community. You have individuals that are sending kids to the schools. You have individuals that are utilizing the parks, the libraries. Now, if you have someone in government right now that is, my big thing is infrastructure change in my district. I lived in my community for the last 36, about to be 37 this year. So I lived in my community for 37 years, and I've seen parks look the same. So I came in, I'm like, nah, I'm gonna get as much money as possible to my community and change this, because one of my biggest goals in my life was getting the YMCA, the Northeast YMCA, the best YMCA in the world. Come check it out in the Northeast Bronx.
Okay.
But we got a YMCA in the Northeast Bronx with the same facades as the Barclays Center. It has 3 different buildings. It looks like a university. It has big, big glasses, so the light is just shining inside. So all of that makes a difference. We don't have one security guard in there. So when you come in, it's a Bronx YMCA, and it's by Edenwall. If anybody know Edenwall, the second biggest NYCHA development behind Queensbridge, you know Edenwall. But it was in that section of the Bronx, and when you hear it, it's like, if I tell people we usually ball on Sunday, I usually have intergenerational balling. So I have like the old heads like myself and the young boys come out and they play ball and stuff. But anytime I tell people pull up, they're like, "Oh, you want me to come to Edenwall like to play ball?" I'm like, "Nah, it ain't like that, bro."
You hoop?
Yeah.
Oh, we gonna talk.
Oh yeah, we gotta do some things.
Yeah,
man.
absolutely.
So usually when I tell them to pull up, and the kids are seeing that, it changes their perception. They're living in a clean, welcoming environment. And community engagement is really, really important, because we were able to get that from involvement in the community. They formed a coalition, and they said to the elected officials at that time, they formed this coalition when I was like in high school.
Wow.
So that's how long it took us to get that YMCA there. It's crazy. It takes you a long time to get things changed within your community if you don't have the right people in office. And it's not about the people that are online just yapping and yelling and always jumping. It's about the people that's really understanding government, leveraging stuff, and being in the room and really connecting and voicing their opinions. You understand? And that's how you really bring change in the community. And then you have the community backing behind you. So we were able to get that YMCA because of community engagement. Carl Hasty, my mentor, the one I mentioned to you, when he became speaker, he made that priority to bring that YMCA there. We needed a center for intergenerational connection. Like, we have seniors, parents, young people in there. Not one security guard. Everybody's respecting each other. You might have slip-ups here and there, but everyone's respecting each other. Everyone's showing love with each other. You invest in it. Programming is going in there. And it shows us how much more we could do. And community engagement helps us to fix different parts of our community, the parks, the libraries. We invested $60 million in Hafen Park in our district. I invested $14 million in Edenwall Library. Edenwall is like one of the primary areas I'm really trying to fix right now. I invested $3 million in their basketball camp. They got the Whiz Kids program. We have Captain Jack, Elijah, Chopper. Those are 2 individuals. One is going to UNC, one is going to Syracuse.
Yes.
Captain Jack is ranked number, I think, 6 in the nation in his class. So
they calling him the next KD, actually.
They say he's number 8 in the 2025 NBA draft projection. Like, he comes from District 12. He plays ball in that community. So what are we making sure he has so he could excel? But not only the Captain Jack, we got individuals in our community. We got Mind Builders, a program that's teaching the people within our community how to express themselves through music, through arts, through theater. And this is programs that we have in our community. Like, there's so much great things. And like, when I hear people talk about the Bronx and you see it online, like, it really frustrates me. And I really want to make sure I'm that change to help that. So that's why community engagement is really, really important.
That's amazing, man. I got to get down to the to that YMCA.
Yeah, man, you always welcome on Sunday, man.
Thank you, man. I'm handing out whoopings.
That's fine, man. As long as we leave and no one's injured, I am perfectly fine. That's the main goal, man. I don't care if you make me fall, I don't give none of that. As long as we leave and we are healthy.
We healthy?
Yep.
Right. That's good, man. Nah, definitely gonna pop out there. You got the Stand Up Against Violence organization as well, man.
Yeah.
Is that something that you're doing over there in Edenwall too, or is that in that specific district, or are you trying to expand that throughout the borough?
So one thing I always try to do is there's always amazing people that I encounter or I know throughout my life. DJ Mad Out, who's a very popular celebrity DJ, he came to us. He's from our neighborhood as well, and he was like, "Yo, I really want to do something with music." So at that time, we had the largest gang bus in New York City, the Bronx 120. A lot of the individuals from ECG, Eastchester Gardens. You had individuals from White Plains Road, Edenwall area. They were beefing at that time, and they did a huge gang bus. A lot of it was in the era before this whole era of these young
drill music
era right now. We had individuals before drill music was dissing
remember.
each other on YouTube and stuff like that. So when that was happening, he came. He was like, "Yo, I want to do something for the community." Because music is like, it was like our therapy before we started, actually talking about how we need mental health resources. That was like our therapy for everybody. They express themselves through music. They listen to music. So a lot of these young people were doing that. A lot of these people were doing that. Not even young people, just people in general were doing that. So when we realized that, Maddow came to us. I was working at Carl Hasty's office at that time, and we formulated Music Over Violence. And one thing that we really, really do is on Juneteenth, we do like a big parade on White Plains Road. So White Plains Road is like a commercial corridor, but a lot of people usually on White Plains Road. And one of the gangs that was in the Bronx 120, that was the area they usually congregated on. So we go up that block, we do this parade, but not only do this parade, Music Over Violence also has an imprint on what we do in the community, policies, funding a lot of the programs, like, helping the YMCA. And it really was because DJ Maddow, because he saw something, he leveraged his platform. And we need more people to do that. We need more like, celebrities, people from these hoods that, that made it out. Leverage your platform, what I mean? And help someone out. You can't, I know everyone's busy. We all busy. We all got, not the time to do so. But I figure if you leverage your platform, elevate people, we have people in our communities that are doing these things just cause, and you don't hear their names. I got a dude from Edenwald, Ra. He got a great program called Granada Built to Win. He's in the heart of Edenwald. I grew up having beef with Edenwald, yo. I got jumped by Edenwald mad times to get fights at Edenwald, and I'm working in partnerships with people in that complex right now to create change. You know what I mean? I didn't hold a burden. Like, these are things that happened when we were kids. And that's what we have to think about. Like, our kids right now, they just need guidance. Like, we needed guidance back in the day, but they're exposed to way more things than we were. They're exposed to way more things than we were. So musical violence is really, really important because they could go online. Like, we used to have to go on a big box computer and go on the internet. They on the internet in 2 seconds. They on live in 2 seconds. They're saying things. If we had beef, I had to go to your block. I had to see you outside. They could literally go online and start beef with someone in a whole other state and probably never see that person. You understand? Like, it's so easy for people to do that now. And that's something that has been changing a lot. So musical violence was something that was created because of a DJ Maddow. Granada Built to Win because of a Ra. And these are other programs. And we always try to help and elevate people. I tell people, get a 501c3. We do things off the kindness of our heart. Get a 501c3 and tap into elected officials like me that could point you in the right directions on how to get government money to do the great things that you're already doing in your community, that you're already coming out of pocket. You could be a great person and get, compensated for it as well.
Fire, man. I'm from Queens, and I knew all about Edenwald and just that era. I want to say probably like 08, 09. Like, if you was coming uptown, you had a death wish. That's like prime.
And we want to get out
era.
of that, man. Like, this is community. We want you to be welcomed uptown, man.
Right. See, that was like prom Biggie era, man. How do you feel? How do you manage, or how do you balance rather, the negative opinions people in the community may have about wanting to push for change? Because a lot of people want change, instantly. People want to see things done right away. How do you balance those people's opinions?
Well, I think it's very important to educate them first on how we could do things. That's why, back to community engagement, we walk them through the process. We're very transparent. We're very approachable, accessible. That's why we do the community conversation, which is like a version of our town hall monthly. We'll pick a issue. We'll ask the community, hey, I'll pick an issue on education. I'll tell you what I've done, the funding I've done for the schools, the policies I've sponsored or co-sponsored. I'll have the Department of Education there. I'll have nonprofits there. I'll have advocates for education there. And then I'll have everyone shut up and listen to the community. And we're there and we're learning things for the community. And from these conversations, bro, I'm able to get policy. Like, I was able to get a policy last year from a conversation that we had where someone said, hey, when these summer tournaments are happening, right, we keeping kids off the streets. Right? We all play ball. We all want to play in the summer tournament. What are we doing? We used to be happy about that. I want to stay off the streets. And some of these summer tournaments is doing more than playing basketball. Some of them are teaching coding. Some of them is teaching them how to get a job during the summer tournament. Like they're doing way more than just playing basketball. And I'm just utilizing basketball, but there's other sports, soccer, tennis. Like there's other golf. There's other type of programs out there. Like we did a skate event yesterday in my district.
Wow.
But at the events, they're doing way more. But what happens? They're doing it outside. What happens when it rains? That shuts the program down. That shuts down the weekend. These kids are not supposed to do anything. So someone mentioned like, hey, the DOE should work better with the Parks Department, that if one of these programs are being shut down because of the rain, there's a adjacent school that's close by that has the infrastructure to support the program. And that was a policy just hearing from the district. You understand? So these conversations that we're having are very, very important. So how we can push our community forward. So I think conversations like that are truly, truly important to how we push the community forward.
That's amazing, man. I like it. I love to hear that because I think at times, I think a lot of people are so, it just comes from being unaware, really. You know, we don't really know. Some of us we don't have boots on ground. Yeah,
and you get a lot of negative. I think the negative comments really come from like online. You get people like, no, I represent a system. I understand that. I didn't understand that in the beginning. Like I used to feel like it was a personal attack. I had imposter syndrome coming in. Like, damn, do I really belong in here? Like, am I smart enough to be in this game? Like, you guys, my staff, man. Like, there was something even last week that happened. One of my staff was like, I can't believe this lady just said that to you. You know what I mean? Like, you get things a lot. You know, in this, like, a lot of negativity, but it comes with the territory, and it's a system that I represent. I call myself a public servant, but at the same time, I am a politician.
Right.
That's a council member. He's a politician. He represents that. So anytime we do things, you're always going to get that, you know, criticism, and it's fine. You just have to learn how to cope with it, and that comes back to your mental health. It comes back to taking care of self-care. And I think that's something that a lot of elected officials don't tap into. You got to take care of your self-care because as an elected official or some person in public service, you could be an educator, teacher, firefighter, officer, correctional officer, social worker, anybody in social service or public service. You're literally coming outside with your issues, and then you have to put that on the back burner, and then you have to take on what your job is. You have to take on the issues as well.
Right.
So how are you coping with that? Like, because if I have issues at home and I'm pissed off, and then I come into work and I'm supposed to set policies to address 9 million people in New York City, and I'm upset because something happened in my house or something happened with someone in my community, I'm not in the right mindset to do that. That's why I have to take, right now I take time more now than everything. So I'll take time to go for a run, like I was saying, in the morning time. I just do different things to cope with stress because it's a very stressful job when you're a public servant.
You know, I work in social service.
Yeah.
That's my 9 to 5. And burnout is real.
Extremely.
A lot of people, a lot of people who I've been doing it for about 14 years, man. So I'm burnt out. So I know how this. I know how that having to walk into the site, so to speak, right? We don't say the office, just say the site. So walking to the site and then having to like suppress all of those feelings, all the things that you're dealing with, and it's like a whole nother monster you got to tackle. You know. So myself,
I salute to y'all, man. Y'all got a stressful job.
I'm ready to get out, brother.
And you know the thing is, you're never going to get out. You might might not be in the job, but you still going to do the work.
Still there.
You still going to do the work.
But that's something that I've been telling my wife. It's like now for me personally, like I think I'm obviously put here to service. I don't doubt that at all. I don't think it's more in that capacity now. I think my service now is definitely in a different capacity. Yeah. But burnout and all of that stuff is real, and self-care, I think, is even as back to being a black man, finding a space, and, you know, it's important, man. Yeah. You know, hip-hop music, drill music.
Yeah, I love it.
You love drill music?
Yeah, man, I'm a fan of it.
Gotta ask you, how do you feel how do you feel the message is in drill music?
I mean, music is something that transitions through time. You can look at tons of, like, when I really got involved and started understanding music, I think everybody is like middle school going into high school. That's when you're really exposed to it. I think going into middle school, I think that was around like 97, 98. That's when Biggie and Pac died. And you heard their albums and their music, and then you're going into like the Rockefeller, Rough Rider era. I go into high school. My favorite era of music is like Dipset era. I was a huge Dipset fan. Huge Dipset fan growing up, man. I thought I was Cam growing up. I used to get my face spray painted on my shirt. I used to have boogers in my ears. Like I used to do all that. So you hear the music then and the music now is not really, it's just a change of how the delivery is, I feel like. And I don't think we should put so much emphasis on the music. You have to put an emphasis on the message of the music, because at the end of the day, they're expressing what they have to deal with on a day-to-day basis. Now, I'll tap into the message of drill music, and not all drill music, but the ones that people pay attention most to. The people pay attention to the drill music that are talking about smoking on someone's dead, or you're disrespecting someone's block, or the things of that nature. That ties into a deeper message of the young people. You know what I mean? We have inherited beefs within our neighborhood. I tell you, as an elected official, I got seniors that won't go to other parts of my district because of the beef that happened back in the day.
Wow.
You understand? Like, I got seniors that won't go into another part of my district. Like, Councilman, why you doing the event over there, man? You know, they don't like us on there. I'm there like, are y'all serious right now? Like, but you inherited beefs. You know areas that historically never rocked with each other.
Right.
And a lot of the times, if we continue this same message and we don't realize it, and while we continue this message, it's trickling down to our youth. They're going to the schools, they're hearing it. Like, yo, my side don't rock with your side. I'm from the Valley in my neighborhood. My neighborhood's called the Valley. My neighborhood historically has had beef with Co-op, Eden Wall. Like, so if I wanted to do an event or a barbecue in Eden Wall, and I'm inviting a lot of people that I grew up with in the Valley, if they didn't know, 9 times they'd be like, oh, I don't want to go over there. Or I can't invite some of the young boys. I have the mentorship group. I have one of my young boys. He lives by White Plains Road, and he wants to get a job. So I'm like, yo, I can get you a job in Bay Plaza, part of my district too, which is the Co-op. He's like, I can't go around Co-op. I'm just there like, yo, this mentality that we got, we only got one mall in our hood. Like if you wanted to go get a quick fit real quick, right? You going somewhere, you can't go up to like Cross County or the city real quick. You gotta go to Co-op. You gotta go to Bay Plaza real quick, right? So the fact that we have beef over there, like, that doesn't make sense, because we have to utilize this community is an asset. Every part of the community is an asset. So when you think about the beef, like, I don't like to tap more into like the music, the drill music, because they're just expressing what they see on a day-to-day basis. Now I want to tap into the education, the outreach, how we educating them and exposing them to different things. Like, we social media crept up on us, y'all. Like, when I was in high school, we had Skonex. I'm dating myself, man.
Yeah, I remember Skonex.
You feel me? We had Skonex.
I remember Skonex.
Then we tapped into like MySpace, Facebook.
Then we had AIM.
But you feel me? Like, even through that, like, you had people doing diss pages on MySpace. Right? You know what I mean? Like, you could, but what was MySpace? Didn't you create a whole page or a website?
Yeah,
technically, right?
You had a whole layout.
You were coding. You understand? So it's not like you're taking like music right now. You got kids engineering, videography, you know, expressing themselves through lyrics. Like, they're doing all it. Like, kids are putting out rap music videos back to back to back these days. Like, we not tapping into that talent within them, but we focusing on what they're saying in their music. They're just expressing what's going on in their neighborhoods. Now, what we need to do is fix what's going on in the neighborhoods. We got to go into the schools. We got to fix their schools. A lot of these schools haven't been updated in years. You understand? They losing funding. That's why we arguing and beefing back with government, trying to, you know, advocate from the federal government, state government, municipalities. That's why we trying to advocate for these programs. That's why we need like the YMCA centers in each neighborhood. You understand? Like, that's why we need stations like this where podcasting has been something where we're not going through traditional media anymore, where people have other platforms to express themselves, which I love now, because I hate traditional media. It's only controlling that narrative.
Right.
It's put out there. I can't call new. I took over 30 kids, young black men, young black and brown boys. I took them to the New York Stock Exchange the other day.
How was that?
It was beautiful. And they were learning. They was like, yo, when you buy some Nikes, you can invest in yourself if you have stock in the Nike business, some Nike stock. You know what I mean? Like, they were just learning that. Like, I wish I was exposed to that at an early age. And like, word, Riley? As they call me, like, they call me Unc. Word, Unc. I didn't know I could do that, Unc. One of them hit me up yesterday, like, yo, you can help me next week work on my resume, Unc. Like, I want to make sure I'm getting a job so I can invest in some stock. Like, that mindset to them. Some of them want to go to the A. You might not go to the A, but you still go to the A. You go work in the executive place in the NBA. I took them to MSG. They talked to some of the executives of the Knicks. You know what I mean? Like, you might not be on the floor with the Knicks, but you could be in the box office. You could be the one with the tickets. You could be the one doing, not selling the ticket, but you could be a part of the executive team making hundreds and thousands of dollars in the same room, partying the same ways that these NBA players you think are living. You understand? So that mindset and change is what I'm trying to do. So besides drill music, I love it because it's just music. It's expression. It's an expression of what they're going through. The same way I love Dipset, Rockefeller, when Jada and Beans was beefing back in the day. I love all that too. Like, Tupac's biggest song is, come on, he started it crazy. And somebody said that today. So it's just an expression, man.
I love that answer, man.
Yeah.
Because my son, he loves drill music.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, yo, man, I'm not too keen on it, but I always go back to the expression part. And I always think about when I was young, I was listening to Dipset. I was more of a G Unit guy. Yeah. I love Dipset.
I love G Unit too. Yeah.
Oh, come on now, man. Banks, that's my guy. So I always go back to that time of when I was listening to it, how Banks, when how he made me feel. You know what I'm saying? Pose. How 50 and all those guys, you know what I mean? That's a great outlook,
you
man.
Said pause. You see, we do that. Like, that's just a part of our culture growing up.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. You answered the question which I was going to ask you, man, about your favorite time in hip hop.
Yeah, man, it had to be 2000s, man, with all those groups, man, with Dipset, Rough Riders, Rockefeller. That time was the greatest, man. That was the greatest, man. Anytime I remember getting into like scuffles, I was like, I know I'm gonna get in the scuffle today. I was throwing some Dipset. They ain't gonna mess with me today, be like, I'm gonna be riled up. You know what I mean? Like, but. I played that same music when I was going to do my SATs. Like, I want to get hype. I played I Really Mean It when I was on my way to school taking my SATs. Man.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, so it's like, it just got me hyped up. It's music, man. It's an expression. You can listen to any song and be like, I feel like that now. I feel like that now. But if you don't know yourself, then the music is going to take you away. You have to know yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I watch Marvel. I know I can't jump in front of a car or fly. You know what I mean? So I know people say that same line all the time, but that's real, man. It's just entertainment.
It's just entertainment. Yeah. What do you think artists can do to create more community awareness?
Leverage. We need you to leverage your position as an artist, a celebrity, because a lot of the times, unfortunately, these are the people that people in our community sometimes only listen to, or they only get exposure to. A lot of people in the community don't even know who I am. And I've been a council member. I'm around. People will walk past me on an everyday basis if I don't have on a suit and tie and say I'm running for office. I'm handing you a pamphlet. Like, if I don't do that, they'll just literally walk by me every day. But I feel like if you have a platform as an artist, and that's if you want to, you know what I mean? Some people, they made it out. They just want to do their own thing. I don't think people should be forced to do it. But I feel like if you're a person that, cares about your community, if you're sending a specific message in your music, it's cool to tap in and leverage your position and really make some change in your neighborhood. Find a community that you really could tap into. Find a school that you could tap into and leverage your opportunity. I feel like I told you earlier, as an elected official, I could be with Don Peoples, a billionaire real estate developer. I could be in the school, chopping it up with kids. I could be with Bobby Smurda. I was with Bobby Smurda the other day. He's trying to do some great things in the community as well. or I could, you know, I could be at church, you know, with a pastor, or I could be at Google, and I could. I'm just saying all these places because I could make connections.
Right.
Like, you know, understand? Like, there's always a connection that can be made where I could leverage something to either set policy or even get funding to do programming in the community. So I feel like it's really, really important for, you know, if you have that platform, to leverage it in order to, you know, increase change within your community.
Fine, brother. Councilman Riley, I want to thank you for your time.
Oh, appreciate it, my brother. Thank you for having me.
No doubt, man. This is a part of the show where I ask a guest to give us a gem before they get out of here. So it'll be a life gem, be a funny gem. What do you want to exit this this great bill with?
A gem. Oh, man. So I think a gem I want to leave with is take care of your mental state. I think, like I mentioned before, each and every day we're constantly, you know, pouring in and giving to people, but we're not, you know, checking on ourselves. I think it's really, really crucial in these times. We really just put the phone down and just checking on yourself. Create coping mechanisms that when you are dealing with an extreme amount of stress, that you could just go and take a few minutes just to, you know, really decompress. Because I think now a lot of people are making irrational decisions because we're not emotionally resourceful within ourselves. So I think, you know, develop coping mechanisms, take care of your mental stability, and be safe out there, man.
My brother, thank you so much. That was a hell of a gem.
Thank you, man.
Thank you, my man. Appreciate
it, man.
HHGTV, y'all get behind this brother. Y'all support this brother, man, please. He's doing great things in the community. Y'all like, subscribe, do all of that. Thank you again, my man. Appreciate you,
man. Make sure y'all follow me, Kevin C. Riley, on all platforms, or CM Kevin C. Riley.
Absolutely. And he be playing he got some music he be posting up.
Oh, so yeah, man. Send me some music too, man.
Appreciate you, man.
All right, man. Appreciate you, Ty.